So Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year last year, which I thought was not the correct decision. I had several reasons why I felt that way. One of which is just because my podcast co-host Kyle is a big Gilmore fan, and so for that reason, I just want him to be wrong about that. But also, realistically, I felt like I think a corner has to have a particularly great season to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I thought his season was very good. He probably had the best season as a corner last year, but at the same time, I didn't think he was that much better than someone like Trey White, and also I thought you had guys like TJ Watt and Shaq Barrett and even Chandler Jones, who I thought were all more deserving. But that being said, he's obviously still a very good player. But there was one more main reason why I felt like he didn't deserve that award. And that's because I felt like as far as stars go, he probably had the worst game a star has had in quite some time. And not just that, but he had it in the most important regular season game in week 17 when they needed a win to make sure that they were able to get a bye week. I also felt like that game was a big example of underestimating your opponent. And so I wanted to really break this down and talk about what went wrong. And first, to talk about what went wrong, I have to talk about what had gone right previously in the season. So I'm only going to break down one play, but this is going to be important, and you'll see why. So this is the concept that Cincinnati is going to be running. So they have their number 2 receiver run up to the sideline, and they have the number 1 receiver run a go route. It's a pretty good concept, something that can work out pretty well. And after the ball is snapped, what you're going to notice is that Gilmore, look at him. This is man coverage, but look at how he's looking at the quarterback here. He already knows what route this is, or at least he has a pretty good idea. I mean, he saw the formation. He knows this is a typical route concept you'll run out of this formation. And so he's ready to try to make a break on this ball if it does go there. And now that he's looking at the quarterback and sees that it is going to go there, he can simply just break in. He gets the interception and runs it all the way for a touchdown. So, that's what he's capable of. And this is why he won Defensive Player of the Year, despite my complaining about it, is because he can make plays like that. And he can make reads like that. And when it works, it's fantastic. And it worked a good amount last season. But there's a reason why I'm bringing this play up, and it's because of what's going to happen on his first target of the game against Miami, of this Week 17 game. You see the concept, it's something very similar here. The only difference is that you see that New England player that I have circled, that's where Gilmore was on the last play. That is not where he is on this play. This time, Gilmore is lined up with the number 1 receiver, who is Devontae Parker. But, hey, who cares? I mean, Gilmore is, probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And he's saying, you know what, maybe I can try and get a pick 6 here, or, get a pick of some kind. Why not? And so after the ball is snapped, you notice that he's doing something very similar. He's looking at the quarterback, ready to break in. Because again, he saw the formation. He saw this is a concept they could probably do. So he's thinking the same way. Again, a little bit more of a risky thing to do because the receiver he's going up against is running a go route. But he's still, he's confident in himself. However, he vastly underrated Parker, and it's going to show right here. Parker is able to just blow by him. Fitzpatrick noticed Gilmore doing this. Perhaps he saw it on tape earlier, and so he threw it in that direction, and they were able to get a big gain just like that. So that was a play that you're kind of like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I underestimated my opponent, but, that's fine. We'll bounce back right here. I'll try to see if I can get just go back to playing my game. Don't underestimate him anymore. I probably won't give up a completion. However, then this play would happen, where what's going to happen with Parker is he's in motion, get to the bottom of the screen, so this signifies to Fitzpatrick that it is going to be man coverage, and it signifies to Parker that it's going to be man coverage. So the first thing Parker does is he's going to run basically at an angle, sort of towards the sideline and also deep. So he runs at the angle like that. And what that's going to do is that's going to force Gilmore to also run at that angle, meaning that his back is now turned away from the top of the screen. He has no choice. He has to run in that direction. So then Parker can simply just run to the middle of the field, and now you see Gilmore is out of position. And what does he have to do? Well, he has to hurry up and try to get back in position and try to, run in that area, But when he does that, well, now what Parker can do is simply just cut back to the sideline. He gets completely wide open and even runs over Gilmore on top of that to pick up even more yards. He didn't just run out of bounds. And again, that one's not really Gilmore's fault too much. I mean, you could argue he should have been a little bit more patient towards the end of that route, but that's really just a great route from Parker. But I think it also kind of goes to show that this is something Parker has done before, but New England didn't really have a huge plan for it, which is very non-New England like. We saw just some weird plays, like a play like this one. This is probably the best example of just a bad decision by New England, by their defensive coaching staff, by whatever. What's going to happen right here is that this is going to be a 2nd down and 10 right here. And so for New England, they're playing cover 0. That's where the first down marker is, and that's Parker's route here. So the pressure does come, but, Fitzpatrick's been in the league for a while, so he's going to get the ball off. And if you look at Parker, I mean, look at how open he is. And part of it is, listen, it's cover 0. You have to play off. You can't allow a complete, you can't try to go all out to try to knock the ball away, because if you do that, it could result in a touchdown. But at the same time, I mean, you can't be playing this far off. You're just completely giving up a completion, and that's what he does. He gets the completion and gets the first down easily, and it's just kind of a questionable decision right there. I mean, you have to figure that Fitzpatrick will see it's cover 0 and make a quick throw, and if you're all playing so far off, and it wasn't just Gilmore on that one, then you're really going to see that, it's going to be pretty easy for Parker to make that catch and pick up some yards. Part of me wants to, blame the coaching staff and say, well, the coaching staff was the one who made the decision. But at the same time, when Gilmore does something smart, nobody credits the coaching staff. They all credit Gilmore. So, Gilmore probably should have said, hey, I'm going to play a little bit more aggressive here. Because, I mean, at that point, if you're going to play that kind of coverage, you might as well just have a safety deep and just play a little bit tighter, because, it's just a weird decision by New England. There was also this play where Parker is going one-on-one against Gilmore, and he's going to run to the sideline. Again, what Parker is going to do here is it's against press coverage, and what he's going to try to do is just avoid contact at the line. I should mention, because this is the second play now I've showed that I also showed in my Devontae Parker video I made just a couple days ago, but the reason why I'm repeating a couple of them is because, I want to get more in depth on this actual game as a whole from Gilmore. But anyways, what's going to happen is that you notice that Gilmore doesn't create any contact at the line and just bails right away. But if you're going to do that, then why play press coverage? Because now Parker is further down the field. He has a little bit of separation, not much, but really what he has is that he can look back at the ball, whereas Gilmore can't. And when you're in a jump ball where you can't see where the ball is coming against maybe the best jump ball receiver in the NFL, well, that's not going to be a good thing. That's certainly for sure. And watch how Parker is able to leap up and make the grab and get the ball to the 30-yard line. I mean, really, you do have options, but, you have to figure out some sort of way to try and beat him. I mean, you can't just be continuing to just give up yards time after time because you're scared of giving up a huge gain. You have to figure out something. But really, what you saw New England do was just, honestly, play a little bit scared here, where, again, on this play, it's a one-on-one matchup with Gilmore and Parker, and now you see Gilmore is playing off right here. He's conceded to the fact, he's going to concede, I can't beat you if I'm playing press coverage and you run deep. I just can't, which, maybe he should have tried to create more contact at the line. Maybe he would have had a chance, but that's what he's going to do. And there's some logic here, right? I mean, if Parker then does cut shallow, well, hey, Gilmore, he can, look at the quarterback. He can read this play well, run over, knock it away, maybe get an interception. We've seen him do that in the past. But Gilmore was clearly, not in that state of mind at this point. You notice that when Parker does just stop right there, if you look at Gilmore, he is not breaking in, and he did not look at the quarterback. Clearly, at this point, and this is just speculation, but I think it's the case. I think his confidence was shook a little bit right here, and he was just trying to not give up those big plays. I think that it's kind of one of those things where he had been dominating for, he wasn't like dominating, but he was at the very least playing well against everybody through the first 15 games of the season. So when it came down to the final game of the season, I think he was expecting to be like, okay, well, I'll only get beat maybe once or twice this game, as that's been the case for every other game. But then on this game, when he kept consistently getting beat, he just didn't really know how to handle it. So yeah, I mean, that's really, I think it was a brutal game from him. It really was. And I think it probably should have been talked about a little bit more. I mean, this is someone who just got the award for the best defensive player of the year, but really, I mean, he did not play very well this game. And obviously, Parker played great, but I actually think Parker's had better games than this. I think Parker played well. Parker played one of his, he definitely brought his A game, so to speak, but I think a lot of it was Gilmore just wasn't really prepared. He came in a little bit arrogant, and it really came back to bite him, and he didn't know what to do once things started going wrong. That being said, in terms of long-term problems, I actually don't think this is going to really be a big problem. I think what's really going to happen is that Gilmore is going to learn a very valuable lesson, and unfortunately, he had to learn it in a very important game. But I think that at least now he knows this lesson, and I think that he won't make this mistake again. But I think it was a mistake. I think he, again, just from what I've seen on tape, I always say I can only go off of what I've seen on tape. It seemed like he wasn't prepared, and he thought that he was going to really, maybe even pad his stats. He thought he could get another pick six or something, and it just didn't work out that way. But again, I should also be clear, I don't make too many negative videos, so it's definitely an unusual feeling for me. I still do think Gilmore's a great player, obviously, and just because I think other players deserved Defensive Player of the Year over him doesn't mean that I don't think he's great. That's just my opinion. But I figured it'd be fun to, hey, I mean, if I'm going to make a negative video about somebody, but I also figured it would be fun that, hey, if I'm going to make a negative video about somebody, why not the person that got voted best defensive player in football last year? So that's what I did. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a feeling the Patriots fans did not, but maybe you did. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.